Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
What do you think is what is the crisis facing?
They want it in English or Telugu?
What is the crisis facing the current paddy farmers in the state?
In general, the problems of agriculture and particularly problems of paddy farmers are not created by nature. They are largely because of the government policy. Government policy restricting trade, imposing too many conditions, a continuation of license permit quota Raj, and therefore the farmer is now suppressed because the price is not given. For instance, Andhra Pradesh is the only major state in the country which does not allow the farm produce to go to a neighboring state. It's illegal now for the farmer or the trader to send paddy or rice across Andhra Pradesh to Karnataka or Maharashtra. In Karnataka, certain varieties of rice, like for instance, your BPT rice, BPT paddy, one bag of paddy of 75 kilograms is selling in Karnataka at 960 rupees to 1000 rupees today. In Andhra Pradesh, the same variety of paddy is selling at 750 to 800 rupees, only because the paddy cannot cross the state boundaries. It is entirely the short-term, highly partisan, utterly anti-farmer policies of the state that are ruining the paddy farmers.
What has Lok Satta done to actually alleviate this suffering of the paddy farmers?
Over the past year and a half, Lok Satta has taken up the cause of farmers very aggressively, very consistently, and founded on sound logic and evidence. It is Lok Satta's intervention that has actually shifted the debate in the country. So far the debate is the poor farmer is suffering, let us give some help to him and let us give him some money after suicide. Instead, Lok Satta has put the issue squarely as pricing. Unless the farmer gets the right kind of price for the produce, he cannot really make a living and he cannot really survive when there is a downturn because of the nature. For instance, rice export was prohibited by this government at the national level for several years, though in India we have 7 crore tons of rice and wheat in stocks at the government godowns alone. About 25 to 30% of the stocks are now in open air because there is no cover. The godown capacity is not adequate. The record harvests are mounting. Every year we are producing more and more wheat and rice in the country. The prices in India are plummeting. The food grain prices in the country are 10 to 15% down in the last year or two, even as there is overall inflation and even as the cost of cultivation is increasing in the country and in Andhra Pradesh. International prices are rising, at least for some time, because of the crop failure in Pakistan, in Russia, in China, and elsewhere. Despite that, the government did not allow exports so that the farmers could take advantage of the international prices. Only because Lok Satta's consistent advocacy in mobilizing farmers and pursuing the matter with the policymakers at the national level, from the Prime Minister down to the Chief Economic Advisor of the Government of India. And I must personally met the Prime Minister and explained to him in considerable detail, and the Prime Minister agreed with me on everything. In fact, he supplied me more data in support of my arguments. Then we had pushed the government, and finally, today, without any restrictions, forever, for the time they did not impose a deadline, now the farmers of India can export rice in any quantity, without any restriction of any quality, any variety. So for the first time, the export market is now open, and hopefully it will continue for a long time without any interruptions. But because India has entered the market late, and because there is an interruption in the export, and government is changing this policy at will, already our exporters and therefore our farmers are suffering in terms of price. Thailand rice of the same quality is selling at $600 per ton in the international market, whereas Indian rice of the same quality is selling at $410 to $413. That means there is about 8 rupees per kilogram price disadvantage to Indian farmers, despite having the same variety, only because of the bad government policies. Therefore, consistency in policies is important. Similarly, in other sectors, whether it is your retail chains adding value to produce, ensuring the whole supply chain properly maintained, and ensuring that the market chain is compressed, Lok Satta has been aggressive in supporting that. Unfortunately, the major politicians of India have taken the shortcut and they have not done the right thing for the country, but we hope that will be addressed very soon. And similarly, we have to fight for value addition. So in almost every sector related to paddy farmers and agriculture, Lok Satta is actually going to the crux of the issue. How to ensure that the government policies support the farmers' pricing, not depress the pricing. And results are beginning to yield, but we have a lot of way to go.
Now, it appears that there is no export ban on rice, but there are restrictions on selling rice from the state of AP.
Absolutely. Now we can sell from Andhra Pradesh to anywhere in the world, but we cannot sell from Andhra Pradesh to Karnataka or Tamil Nadu. It can only be a stupid policy, a short-sighted policy, because the politicians are afraid that A, there may be a short-term minor fluctuation of the price of rice, and therefore there may be a political problem. It doesn't matter if the farmers in the process die, they suffer grievous losses. And B, the more controls, the more restrictions means the more bribes, the more money changing hands for transfers of officials, etc. Therefore, in a corruption-driven system, we want controls, we want licenses, we want permits.
Okay, so what is the event which you planned on AP to actually violate the law?
No, we decided as a very vital symbolic issue, but also a real issue which makes an impact on farmers' lives, to take up one specific state-level governmental policy or legal impediment which is causing a lot of damage to the farm sector, and then fight for its removal. Now, this is a classic case where the government of India wants one market for all the food grains in the country. Time and again since 2002, the government at the national level is telling the states not to impose any barriers of trade between the states. They have now removed also the national barrier. And yet the state government is imposing artificially this barrier. First of all, this is illegal because only the government of India has the power to allow the states to do it. This law is a central law. Despite the government of India not giving the power to the states, states are doing it illegally anyway. But even if the states now legitimize it by getting an order from the government of India by applying pressure, it is an unjust law. It's a classic case of a totally unjust law in this day and age, hurting millions of farmers. Therefore, we have decided to violate this law. We are willing to court arrest, we are willing to be prosecuted, and in my case, because I'm an elected legislator, if I'm prosecuted and convicted under this law, I can be disqualified from the assembly for 6 years. I cannot even contest later. But I am willing to do that. I'm prepared for that because this is a cause worthwhile. More than 55% of the people in the country depending on farming, their incomes today are only 1/8 of the rest of India. For an average family outside agriculture, the monthly income is about 40,000 rupees. For a family in agriculture, the monthly income is about 5,000 rupees. It is about the lowest possible income for any occupational group in India. And this disparity is widening almost entirely because of government policies. And unless they are changed, India will suffer. Not only will farming suffer, not only will villages suffer, even industry will suffer, because if there is money in the hands of farmers and villagers, then after meeting the basic needs, they'll start buying industrial goods and services. And if that purchasing power is not there, there'll be no demand internally in the market for industrial and service products. And India doesn't have adequate market space in international market. And therefore, economy will simply come to a standstill. Already there are signs of decline in Indian economy. And already rural economy is showing so many signs of stagnation that it's not able to actually create the purchasing power or the demand for industrial goods. Indian economy, therefore, is suffering. And if this continues, economy will come to a grinding halt. Therefore, it's good for farmers, good for India. We are fighting for this cause. We are willing to court arrest. We are walking about 50 kilometers from Emiganur in Kurnool district to the Karnataka border, beyond Mantralayam, across Tungabhadra. And we will personally carry these 10-kilogram bags across the border. We will violate the law in Andhra Pradesh. We will court arrest, or we will break the law. And we will ask the people of Andhra Pradesh, the farmers and the traders, and the farmers include here, in this case, the tenants. Because for us, the farmers are the people who produce and sell and make money out of selling produce. Therefore, to us, tenants are and owner farmers are the same. We will all go there, we will sell, we will break the law, and we will ask all the farmers and all tenants in Andhra Pradesh to break this unjust law. And we will protect the farmers from unjust recrimination or any harassment on account of this.